Hello, class. Just want to go over the instructions and the PowerPoint for the final essay. So we're in week 12. It's gone by really quick. This has been a very, what seems like a short semester, 16 weeks, but we're pretty much at the end of it, guys. Um, so I want to cover this information and then the instructions. That way you know exactly what to argue, um, what topics you can argue on, and what you should include in your final essay, because this is, um, you know, this counts as your final. And this essay is important, right? The last three essays you've written, pretty straightforward. This is straightforward too, but there's a lot more, um, there's more components to it, okay? So each week we're going to be kind of adding to what we discussed regarding the components of this essay, but it's more than just arguing something simply. There's a lot of parts that go into it, okay? So the key features, this is all in your book. Okay, this is chapter, I forget the chapter. It's at the beginning of the book, but um, I don't know the chapter number, but it's just, the chapter on arguments. So there are key features that we're going to look at individually, okay? So first, when you're arguing, you need a clear and arguable position, okay? You need to take a stand on the position and argue for that position. This isn't a pro or con essay, okay? No pros, no cons. You can bring those up, but you still need to argue a side, okay? So if you're talking about guns and regulation of guns, let's say that's your topic, right? A topic isn't an argument, it's just a topic. So from your topic, you need to develop an argument, and we'll talk a little bit more about that right now. But let's say you're talking about gun regulation, that's your topic. I will ask, well, what about gun regulation? Well, you could say, well, guns should be regulated and or abolished all through the US. Let's say that's your argument, right? Okay, so then that's taking a position, because you're arguing something. You're saying guns should be, illegal in all states, let's say, right? Or the age to buy a gun should be lowered to 17. Let's say you were to argue that. That would be an argument. You need to take a position, right? And as it says here, you will often argue not that a position is correct, but that it is plausible, that it is reasonable, supportable, and worthy of being taken seriously. So if you were to argue, let's say for the sake of argument, right, that you were arguing that the age to purchase a gun should be lowered to 17. Well, that's probably not plausible, probably never going to happen, but you're taking a position, right? And who knows? Well, like 17, yeah, it's young, but it's not like you're saying it should be lowered to 12 years old or 10 or 11, right? So you could seem plausible and something like that, something that can happen, excuse me, later on. Of course, again, probably not. You may want to modify your argument a little bit more. But again, just for the sake of argument, I was just giving that example. But you need to take a position, okay? Take a position. Otherwise, if you're just saying, well, these are the pros of this, of lowering the gun age the age to purchase guns, and these are the cons. That's a pro and con paper. That's not an argument. You need to argue something. So think about it. Think about it like should or should not, right? Marijuana should be legal in all states. Marijuana should not be legal in all states, right? Think about it that way. Not all arguments are that easy to kind of, just say that and they'll be arguable, but that's an easy way to think about it, okay? Should or should not. Necessary background information. You need background information. If you were to talk about minimum wage, for example, if you were to argue, let's say you're arguing that minimum wage should be higher from what is it right now, 7.25 or 7.50, I think, really low, and you were to argue it should be $15 an hour at least, or $20 an hour. That's an argument, right? You're taking a position, but you need to give background information. Excuse me. You would have to tell me, how much minimum wage is right now. Has it always been that? Obviously not, right? It's fluctuated, or not fluctuated. It's increased through the years. Um, you know, some history. You would have to give me all this background information, right? And you have to ask yourself, the key word here is necessary background information. How much do I need to know as an audience member? Somebody reading your essay, how much about this topic do I need to know? Because I don't know everything about every single topic, obviously. And every semester, students write myriad of different topics, right? And I'll read these essays and I'll say, well, I've never even thought about that, or I wasn't aware of that topic, etc. So how much do I need to know? How much do you need to let me know regarding the topic that you're discussing? Don't assume I know everything. I don't, obviously. And your audience, not all your audience is, unless it's like a specific group you're targeting, most of them won't know a lot of this background information. So give me necessary background information, okay? What does the audience need to know in order to understand my thesis, right? Now, you need to provide good reasons. By itself, a position does not make an argument. The argument comes when a writer offers reasons to back up the position, right? So you need reasons. In this essay that you're writing, you're going to include 3 reasons to support your claim, okay? You can get away with 2. You can get away with 2 since this isn't a 6 or 7 page paper. You can get away with 2 reasons, but you need to include reasons. So this is, and here's a key right here, guys. Your thesis statement is going to be your claim, whatever it is you're claiming, right? You're claiming, let's say that minimum wage should be $20 an hour. That's your claim, right? Minimum wage should be $20 an hour because, and then offer your reasons, okay? That's going to be your thesis statement. And then in your essay body, you're going to support that thesis statement with evidence and outside sources and all that. So there is your big clue for the day, and not a clue, rather I'm just stating it directly. It's your thesis statement is going to be your claim plus your reasons. 3 reasons. You can get away with 2, okay? And they have to be good reasons. It has to be, it has to be backed up. It can't just be a reason that, like, oh, well, minimum wage should be $20 an hour because $7 isn't enough. Okay. Well, yeah, but be more specific, right? That's not good. So it needs to be a good reason. Convincing evidence. Now you need to include evidence, facts, right? Statistics. If you're talking about minimum wage, how much has it increased, right? Throughout the past couple of years. When I started working back in the long time ago, in the early 2000s, when I was a teenager, minimum wage was, I think, $5 an hour. So it's gone up $2, I think, or so in 20 years. That's not good. So you would use statistics, right? Maybe include a graph or something. How much has it gone up? Not a lot, right? A couple bucks. Expert testimony, right? People who know what they're talking about. Look up people who know about the minimum wage if you're talking about that. Expert testimony, anecdotal evidence, case studies, textual evidence. There's different types of evidence you can use, but make sure to incorporate it to support your reasons, okay? So you have your reasons. Say, well, it's not enough. $7 an hour isn't enough, and here's my proof because, right, it's expensive to exist these days, right? To just live. Inflation has gone up, and here are the numbers that that show how much you would make a year if you're getting $7 an hour, and it doesn't compute with how much inflation. You know what I mean? You could use all that to support whatever it is you're trying to argue, right? Now, convincing evidence. From there, we go to appeals to readers' values, which these 3 we've talked a little bit about. I've mentioned them briefly the past couple weeks. We're going to talk more about these later, but ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay, ethos is ethics, or also credibility, pity, pathos, emotion, right? Logos is logic. So effective arguers appeal to these, right? You appeal to the emotion, you appeal to logic, and then you establish credibility, which is ethos. Okay, these we're going to talk more about this. I'm going to have in the I think the next 2 weeks. You guys are going to do activities based off of ethos, pathos, and logos, so that you know exactly right how to incorporate that in your essay. But logos, main technique, structure of the speech, right? The structure of your essay. References to studies, statistics, right? That's logic, comparisons, analogies, metaphors. Now, ethos, how can I trust you? Do you know what you're talking about, right? Personal branding, confidence in delivery, cites credible sources, right? So you need to include sources. We're going to talk about how many sources you need to include, but you need to include good sources, and you need to be confident in your delivery, meaning you can't say things in your essay like, I think, or I believe. I mean, first of all, you're not going to use I. You're going to keep this in third person. But the confidence in the delivery is don't use words like possibly or maybe. Say, this is going to work because this, or, this is the stance, and, it's a correct stance, and you can argue against it, but it's a strong stance. So don't say things like maybe, possibly. No, you have to be confident in your delivery. Pathos, stories, inspirational quotes, vivid language. This all adds to pathos, right? And again, when we talk more about pathos, ethos, and logos, you'll see that all these are used in advertisements all the time, in movies, especially pathos, right? You'll see this in movies and commercials, appealing to the reader's emotions, right? If you watch those commercials with the St. Jude's commercials with those kids that are terminally ill, they pull at your heartstrings, and they make you feel sad, and because they want you to donate, right? So they're convincing you to donate money by using emotion, appealing to your emotional side, right? Now you need a trustworthy tone. Very simply, readers need to trust the person who's making the argument, right? So how do you gain trust? Know what you're talking about. Know what you're talking about. The tone should be, again, confident. Pick a subject, pick a topic that you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? That you know at least a little bit about, right? Offering plenty of facts to show your knowledge in the topic in a self-assured tone will let the audience know that you're a credible writer. Right. So again, knowing what you're talking about, picking a topic that you are familiar with, that you know a little bit about. If you're going to choose a topic just based off of, you might say, oh, I think I'm going to pick this because I can get 3 pages, 4 pages out of it. That's not good. Pick something that interests you, that you could do research on, and you won't get bored, and that you know something a little bit about, And if you don't know anything about a lot of topics, then again, choose something that is interesting, that will make you want to do research, and, and look up this information and find whatever it is you need. But you need to have it in your tone. It needs to be in your tone, right? Be fair, be honest. Don't be yelling, and your tone shouldn't be angry. If you're talking about a topic that you feel passionate about, make sure that it's you're not yelling, and you don't sound angry, because that pushes readers away all the time. Especially for this type of essay, if you're pushing the reader away, you're not putting them in your shoes, right? Or if you are, they're like, oh, I don't want to be in their shoes. This person sounds angry. So make sure the tone is appropriate, calm, but firm and assured. You know what you're talking about. Careful consideration of other positions. We're going to talk about this more in the next coming weeks. So as well, this is what we call opposition and rebuttal. So you need to include a counter argument. Okay, it's going to be 1 paragraph towards the end of your essay. And let's say you're arguing about minimum wage, right? That it should be increased. Of course, there's always going to be a million people who say, no, it shouldn't be increased. We can't afford to increase it, whatever, right? So you're going to include that opposing viewpoint into your essay, and you're going to offer a rebuttal. So you're going to say, well, there are people who think that minimum wage shouldn't be offered, or that shouldn't be, increased, etc. You mention their argument, and then afterwards you offer a rebuttal saying, yeah, that's a good argument, but I still think we need to incorporate, we need to increase minimum wage because, et cetera, et cetera. I will post a handout later in a couple weeks that outline exactly how to write an opposition or rebuttal. But you need to consider other viewpoints, okay? And this makes your essay stronger. Now, choosing a topic. So the topic you choose, it's up to you, okay? But it should be interesting to you right now. It's focused, should have some personal connection. This isn't going to be a personal paper, okay? It's not going to be a personal paper. You're not going to, say, I'm going to argue why I want, why I need to move out of my parents' house. That's not a good argument. For this essay, you need to choose something that's affecting society, right? That people know about. That's not just you, about you. It needs to be bigger, okay? So I'm going to use the word controversial topics. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit when we're done with this, but you need to consider the rhetorical situation, your purpose, right? Are you trying to persuade them to do something, change their minds, consider alternative views? I mean, basically with an argument, you're trying to have somebody view your point of view, right? Convincing is different. Like if you're going to convince somebody, you may not always convince them, but if you try, you may convince them eventually. But this is really just showing others your viewpoint and having them say, well, I don't agree with it still, but you make a good point. That's the point of this essay, guys. Not so much as like you're going to convince them and convince the world to change. No. Have them view your point of view. Have them view it from your perspective. That's the point of this essay, okay? Audience, who's the audience? Do they likely know and believe about this issue, right? It needs to be an issue that they know about, that people are aware of, not something super, cryptic or that people have no idea what you're talking about. At least something that people have heard of, okay? Stance, what is your attitude toward your topic? Why? How do you want your audience to perceive your attitude? How do you want your audience to perceive you? As an authority, as someone much like them. Calm, reasonable, yes. Impassioned, yes. Angry, no. I would say don't sound angry. Media design, can you incorporate charts? Yes. Statistics, stuff like that. You can include that for sure. But for this essay, I'm mainly wanting to see your argument, your words, right? How you're trying to convince the audience, or how you're trying to show them your point of view, right? Rather than incorporating photos or videos or whatever. Drafting a thesis. So when you're drafting a thesis, guys, again, a topic is not a thesis statement. If you say minimum wage, that's my topic, I would say, okay, well, yeah, that's your topic, and that's my argument. Well, that's not an argument, right? Minimum wage is not an argument. That's the topic. That's what you're focusing on. How do you come up with a thesis? Well, I would suggest first coming up with your topic. Picking a topic. Okay, this is where I'm going to talk about social media. Ask a question about social media, right? Or minimum wage or whatever topic. Ask a question about it. Is social media making us more alone? Are we more alone because of social media? Okay, so that's a question. Then answer the question. Is social media making us more alone? Yes, it is making us more alone. Okay, now you have answered the question. Now add your reasons. Because social media is making us more alone, because offer 3 reasons, there is your thesis statement, guys. Simple, right? That's a great way to come up with a thesis statement. Topic, ask a question about it, answer that question, and then provide your reasons, okay? And here's some good examples of how to draft a thesis statement. Additional help, ask your classmates, ask me please, ask a tutor or a librarian, okay? Now, the instructions for this essay are straightforward. Scroll down. This is due on the 14th, guys. We have a month. Okay, this is going to be due the Friday before the last day of school, which is finals week. And the reason I'm having you turn it in Thursday is because Friday, a lot of people sometimes have technical issues. I don't want you guys to have any technical issues. because Blackboard closes that Friday. So once Blackboard closes, that's it, right? So I want you guys to submit it a day early, and that's fine. You have a month. That's where we're starting now. So you have a month to write this, and there's no excuses. So an argument essay makes a claim about a topic, whatever topic you want to write about, and supports it with good reasons, okay? Topics that are subjective, matters of opinion or faith, or facts are not acceptable for an argument essay. In order for a topic to be arguable, it must reflect one of at least 2 points of view. Should or should not, right? Marijuana should be legal in all states. Marijuana should not be illegal in all states, right? Think about it that way. An argument must contain background information, convincing reasons, appeal to readers' values, a credible tone, and opposition rebuttal. Okay. Now, it's going to be 3 to 4 pages, guys. You're going to include appeals to pathos, ethos, logos. We're going to talk about more about all this stuff. Opposition, rebuttal, right? Ethos, pathos, and logos. We'll talk more about that as the weeks pass. But you need to have all those in your essay. An argumentative research paper is not everything available on the topic. It's not one person's views of a topic. It's not only the material that supports the student's preconceived opinion, right? It's not an opinion essay or personal narrative. No, it's none of those things. Now, you avoid using I, you, right? Keep this in third person. It's a formal essay. It's your last essay. No, I think that, no. When you say I think, the argument already goes down the drain. When you're saying I think, no. It's like people say, oh, that's just an opinion. But if you keep it in third person, you use good facts, statistics, backup sources, your argument is sound, then you'll be convincing. Don't use I or you. Don't address the audience. A minimum of 3 sources is required. So this is going to be a little bit longer. 3 to 4 pages in length and at least 3 sources, guys. It is your responsibility to evaluate each source for credibility and authority. We'll be talking about sources more as the weeks pass. We still have 4 weeks left, so we'll talk about all that stuff in the upcoming weeks and how to, find good sources, all that stuff. Okay, those are the essay instructions. As with every essay, you have a grading rubric which is available to you. You can check it out here. It opens up and it tells you everything you need to include in your essay for you to get a 100, right? Does the writing present an argument? Does the writing document research and text, etc., etc.? So look at that while you're writing to make sure that you have every single thing in that rubric, okay? Now, topics. This is the last thing, guys, and then we're done. How do I find a topic? Right? Developing a topic. We won't go over all of this. I want you guys to go over it on your own, but I've uploaded in this PowerPoint, how to start developing a topic. What you can write about, right? A topic should interest you, be interesting to you, be persuasive, have relevant and credible information, meet essay requirements, be current. It should be a current topic, not something like, we should have raided Germany back in the 40s before it got out of hand or something. You know what I mean? No. None of that. As interesting as it is, it has to be current, something that's affecting us right now. Be controversial, okay? So you can't argue facts. You can't argue things that are obvious, right? So if you're talking about child abuse, we know child abuse is bad. What are you going to argue about that, right? So we know animal abuse, animal cruelty is bad. You can't argue those things. So focus on an individual or have no social significance, right? If it's, again, like you arguing why you need to move out of your parents' house, that's going to get a low grade. You can't argue something based on religion, okay? If you're going to argue that you believe in God, all that, no, not good. Opinion, personal taste, I'm going to argue that Back to the Future 3 is better than Back to the Future 2, right? The movies, if you guys are familiar with those. Interesting, but does not make for a good essay, right? I'm going to argue why iPhone is better than Galaxy. No. Not good. That's not good. Those are just opinions, right? You can't argue about... You can argue, but it doesn't make for a good essay. A formal college level essay. It needs to be something that's affecting people, right? And that's socially important. That's not just Nike versus Adidas. That's not good. So overdone, have been overdone. Don't pick. I would say avoid writing about why marijuana should be legal. Right? That's overdone. You know, if you're gonna try to argue about abortion, those are interesting topics and they're big right now, but not good. Right? So there's, what's not arguable, statements of fact, matters of claims of personal taste, statements of belief or faith. No. So where do you find the topic? If you're like, I don't know, I don't know where to come up with a topic. I would suggest picking up a newspaper, going online, going to CNN. What are some events that are happening? Make sure they're happening here in the U.S. Okay, these topics should be not something that's happening like just in Mexico or like overseas. They should be strictly U.S. happening here. Okay, so read the news paper, check out the news. But I've posted this link. Okay, this is political issues of 2017. I need to update this because this is old. But 401 prompts for argumentative writing. You click on this, it'll take you to the New York Times. And what's cool about this is it gives you 401 prompts, guys. I'm gonna upload a page that I'm gonna upload a page, or not a page, a link to updated topics. Right. This is from a couple years ago, but these are still really good. Is social media making us more narcissistic? Right. What's cool about this is that it's divided into different subjects like social media and smartphones, technology in schools in the future. This is a good one, right? Can cell phones be educational tools? We all see cell phones and we're like, well, everybody's just obsessed with their cell phone, but they can be educational, right? They can be used for good. Should there be more educational video games in school? There's a lot of really good topics here. Again, if you're interested in social media and all that, smartphones, check that first one out. If you're interested in technology in schools, what's happening with distance learning, you could check this out. It's great stuff. Gender issues are big right now, right? Now, some of these, are kind of sensitive to argue, so I would use discretion, but it's good about gender issues. Is single-sex education still useful? How much pressure do boys have to face do boys face to have the perfect body? Is there too much pressure on girls to have perfect bodies? These are great. And if you were to click, let's say you're interested in one of these topics, right? You click on it, and then it gives you kind of an overview of that argument, and then there's a link to an article. That's a New York Times article, so it's a reputable source, and you can read it and get some ideas for your topic. Okay. That's gender issues. And then there's stuff if you're like, wow, that doesn't interest me. Dating and sex, sports, right? TV, movies, and video games. Music, literature, and art, right? Anything that interests you, any topic that interests you, right? Any category. Parenting and childhood. Being a teenager. School. Do teachers assign too much homework? Again, some of these aren't going to be good topics. They're not going to be good. They're going to be just kind of a very, the people who write them very opinionated. But some of them will make for good topics, okay? Grading and testing. This one's good. Time in school. College and career. You guys should be interested in all this, right? Should a college education be free? I get essays every semester on free college education, and I've read some really great essays, right? That's a good topic. How necessary is college education? What criteria should be used in awarding scholarships for college? That's a great topic, right? Do college rankings matter? So again, a lot of these are great. Some of them may not work, but just go through them. See what else is on there. Health and nutrition. Animals and science. Personal character and morality. Government and leadership. So guns, prisons, and the justice system. This one's really good. How should we prevent future mass shootings? That's a topic. Prevention for mass shootings. If you're to argue that there are ways, there are ways to prevent mass shootings that don't just involve banning guns. Again, it could be, you know, there could be an argument there, right? Mass shootings is a big thing. Should felons be allowed to vote after they have served their time? Should the United States drop using the death penalty? I get a lot of essays on the death penalty, capital punishment every semester too. So again, these are all potential topics for you guys. I'm going to post a link, like I said, to some updated topics, because this is from like 5 years ago. But it's really, really good stuff. A lot of these topics are very relevant still, okay? So, with that said, guys, let's go back here. Check out this PowerPoint on your own. You know, again, there's more information there about how to find the topic. But when you turn in your topic proposals on Sunday, like I said, I will either approve them or tell you to modify them, okay? Most of the time, yeah, students come up with really good topics, but if you do need some work, I'll let you know, and I'll offer some advice on how to modify that, okay? So that's it for now, guys. Start thinking about your topics, and check out all the information in the modules, okay? I will talk to you guys soon.